Jason Vita here from Richmond Athletics with Jacob Gilyard. Jacob, before March, what was the longest stretch of time you had at home since you started college?
I think like my freshman summer, we got to go home for like 2 weeks, but that might have been it.
So three months now. What's it been like being back home for 3 months?
It's been a blast, man. I've been loving being with my parents. No, I mean it's good to have my family back. Like my sister's here, my brother's here, so it's good to be with everybody. But I feel like I've been here a little too long. I'm starting to get anxious to get back.
What have you been able to do outside of schoolwork?
Um, I've been able to get in the gym pretty much every day. I was lucky enough to find a guy here who owns his own gym, and so he's been letting me come there. So I go there with one of my friends, and we usually work out pretty much every day. Probably take a day off here and there, but we've been able to get in. I have a little bit of weights here, but I'm already big enough, so I don't use those too much.
So so obviously the pandemic kind of also affected when you entered the NBA draft. What was that process like? Were you able to get some feedback and talk with some people?
Yeah, I was able to talk to a couple people actually. Dan Jarreau was obviously one of them. He kind of helped me out, and then talking through people and stuff like that. But overall, obviously the pandemic kind of made it a little difficult and not as good as of a situation as we would have liked. I feel like we could have got a couple workouts maybe here and there, but wasn't able to or weren't able to because of the whole deal. But overall, I think it was good. It was a good experience. Obviously, anytime you get a chance to learn a little bit about yourself, and get some criticism on what's been going on with your game, I think it definitely helps.
In terms of enhancing your game, looking forward not just next year, but obviously your professional career, what are you really kind of focusing on?
Kind of just slowing down. Obviously, for me, I feel like I'm
It's
pretty
funny for a
fast. So
point guard, Yeah.
yeah, usually it's kind of just usually fast paced the whole time. So I think getting the ball in my hands and coming off pick and rolls and slowing down a little bit, and just seeing the whole floor, and making it that much easier on myself, I think that'll definitely help me out going forward.
You're coming back for year 4. Grant and Blake also coming back. 5 senior starters back, top 7 scorers. Have you guys talked about either you individually or team wide what goals are for next year?
I think we all know we have a good chance to be the team that we want to be. Probably hopefully one of the best teams that Richmond's ever had. I think that's kind of what everybody knows that we can be. But I think we definitely have to come in with the mindset that we're still underdogs. You know what I mean? I think we have to come in and get better, especially defensively. We took major strides this past year, but I think taking that next jump will make us that much better. So I think overall we haven't really talked about or discussed it, but I think it's kind of a lot of hype around it, so we kind of know that we have a chance to be really good. But as we've seen before with teams, like obviously, it doesn't mean too much if you don't go out there and improve yourself.
Transition to something kind of bigger than basketball. You've been very outspoken the last month about your support for the Black Lives Matter protests. What does that movement mean to you, and why is it so important to you?
Um, it's important to me just because that's who I am. I think naturally, I think when people look at me, they may see athlete or they may see like a kid, but I think first you see a black man. So like I think for that to be said, that's probably why it means so much to me. And then my brother's the same way. You know what I mean? My brothers, my fathers, my uncles, stuff like that. So it's bigger than me. I think that's something that I can get behind. A movement that means more than just one person or just one thing. And so any way I've been able to help, I've been trying. I think that's something that we can all try and do. Um, but it's a big deal. It's a large topic. I don't want to get into it too much, but I think that the main thing is trying to stay educated,
Mhm.
learn as much as you can, and being open. I think so often we have so many closed-minded people that are just limited because they don't want to listen or they don't want to just kind of try and understand or try and hear somebody out. So the more you can listen and take in, I think the better off we'll be.
You mentioned kind of discussions with the team and what you can do. We don't know when we're getting back, but when we do get back to Richmond, have you or has the team kind of made any decisions on things you can do to help people listen, to help people, close off their mind less?
We haven't talked about it too much. We've definitely had a couple of Zoom calls where we've discussed what's going on and what we can do. But as a team for during season and when we get there, we haven't talked about it too much because I think that's more of a face-to-face deal. So you can kind of see where people really are at with it. Maybe some people won't be too interested or too inclined to go out and do protests or to maybe kneel or whatever we decide to do, whatever it may be. So we would just want to make sure that whatever it is, everybody's kind of comfortable with it. And so that's my thing. So I think we should just wait until we all get back, have face-to-face interaction, and discuss and go from there.
And when you do get back, that'll be on the agenda. Obviously, getting back to basketball is going to be on the agenda. What's going to be on your agenda though? Like, what do you miss about Richmond? What do you miss about campus or around it?
I miss the team. I think you develop relationships with people that you're with every day. Seeing guys that you always see. I'm missing my guys right now. It's been like 3 months. Obviously, it's tough, but getting able to see the guys, that'll be really good. Especially the new guys. I'm excited. As a senior now, I feel like I'm ready to lead some guys. But probably gonna go to Jack Brown's. That'll probably be my first stop once I get back for sure.
All right, man. Looking forward to having you back on campus.
All right, Vita, appreciate it.